Oh, 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 oh. I don't really know what this live stream is for. I am just doing it because I'm doing it. I don't know. Just because, you do what you do. You just do. You know what I mean? Oh, this is a little better, I think. There we go. And there we go. And there we go. And there. What happens if I put it upside down like this? Am I upside down now? Am I upside down? Yeah, so, I don't think this is gonna stay. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, I see. I need to turn it like this. The thing is not in the middle, so it's not gonna stay like that. Whoa. Woo! You know what? It is what it is. Do I need power? I don't know. It all doesn't matter. Yes, this will be recorded for other people to see later, but who will really see it? Who is seeing it now? That my world is tilted. I always am concerned that, I'm not making content. Well, this is my content, my stream. It's easier to stream than recording content in advance and then posting it sometimes, because you have to come up with an idea. I mean, not that you don't have to come up with an idea to stream, but you can just stream anyway. Not that I can't also just start recording for no reason. But, what do I hope to accomplish with that? I guess for me, it's like therapy. Maybe it's like therapy. I'm trying to figure out a way to make it so that this will stay in an upright position. Maybe. Oh, that kind of works. Kinda. Sure, why not? So, let me talk, let me share. Yeah, so today I went to church. It's the second time since COVID ended that I went. Prior to COVID, I had gone again, and last week I decided to go back the first time, and today's the second week. And I go to, well, first when I first started researching churches prior to COVID, I checked a whole bunch of different places, and I landed on this place, St. Luke's. It's a Methodist, United Methodist. I am more of a spiritual person. I do not identify as Christian. I don't necessarily believe in everything that a Christian is supposed to believe in, I guess. I am kind of really just, like I said, spiritual, and I like a lot of the messaging, a lot of the messaging is very universal, you know, like religion can be. Lots of messages are very universal and hold a lot of meaning for me, and I find that would provide a lot of meaning for other people too. You know, I'm just not as immersed and committed in the aspect of labeling myself one thing or other regarding religion and a belief in a specific, in the same specific things of particular religions. My religion, I guess, in a sense, it doesn't have to be called religion, but my beliefs or my spirituality is in the universe. And a lot of these things about why and how we should live our lives as a human on this planet, our purpose, and all that stuff, I think is very universal and applies to everyone. And there are things that are in all religions that are similar that I find a lot of commonalities with. And so it's very basic, I guess, in that sense. The ideas are not necessarily basic, but they apply to all humans. So that's what I really believe in. I don't have to believe in, you know, your God or this religion's God or that other religion's God. They all coexist to me as one. And I think that there's, you know, different interpretations of what this greater power is, and how it's manifested or how it's embodied or expressed, or, you know, whether it's a single God or many gods, or to me, it's all one thing. Maybe there are many gods, you know, maybe there is only one higher power, whatever that is, you know. To me, it's the universe, which is unknown, and you know what I mean? I think it's bigger than just a god. It could be anything. It could be many gods. It could be not a god. It could just be, you know, whatever you consider. It doesn't have to have the label of God, is what I'm saying, because that's already a concept that has been created by humans. What is that all about? What is going on? What is that person doing? I don't know if you see this, but there's a person. There's a person standing right behind my car up against a tree, and he is just standing there, and I don't know what's going on, and he's looking around the tree, like sneaking around. What is going on? What is this person doing? At first, they were leaning against the tree like they were trying to stand up straight, you know, like measuring their height type of thing, you know, like trying to get really flat against the tree. And then it looked like maybe they were rubbing their back against the tree. And then they came around the corner right behind my car, and they're just chilling with a hand on their back. What's going on? What are they doing? Yeah. All right, well, I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing, because I am in the parking lot of St. Luke's right now. what was I talking about before this distraction? Yeah, so that's really what my beliefs come down to. Um, yeah, I mean, are there any other people who feel the way I do? And throughout my entire life, I've just been exploring. I've always had interest in spirituality, and I've explored going to different churches, but I do find that most of my life I've always been in search of something, always looking, but not really sure what. I just knew it was some kind of spirituality, and I didn't know if there was any particular specific one that aligned with me. But I did find some of the places I went to in New York very welcoming, and maybe they're grounding. That's what I kind of thought of actually at first also, that maybe they're grounding. Sure, why not? Um, in any case, I went to Forefront Church in New York. I really, really liked that. I realized how, there are some places that feel very contemporary, very modern, very just more comfortable to me. I like the music that they share, which is more like modern rock, you know. I like the music, and their messaging in Forefront was very accessible. The pastors are not like stuffy, they're very chill and very relatable, and it's very diverse. And I find that St. Luke's is not that, but very, very similar. Enough so that I find myself coming back to kind of explore how I feel about being here. But at the end of the day, it's all about the messaging that I find it's very, very helpful. It's like going to group therapy. I really kind of feel like that's what it's like. And I feel like everyone can kind of benefit from it, even if you don't necessarily believe in something. I think there's still some benefit to it. So I normally tell people, like my friends who are like, "What? You go to church? Like, or do you believe in that? That kind of stuff." I say, well, a lot of times I listen and I embrace the things that I feel connect with me. I take what works for me, and I kind of ignore the things that don't work for me. Um, I'm open to new things, but it doesn't mean that I have to accept it necessarily. So I just take what works for me, and I think that's what everyone should do from everything. Like from different religions or from different perspectives, you can take what works. What makes sense to you. You don't have to be all in necessarily. You're doing this for yourself. You have to remember that you're doing it for yourself, not other people. And there is a lot of pressure when you go to these churches to feel like you have to do what's expected or fit in somehow. And, sometimes you kind of do and you feel pressured and you do, but it's all an exploration and a practice. And maybe in the future, you won't feel pressured to behave in a certain way or feel like you need to do this or dress in a certain way or be a certain way. You have to keep reminding yourself that you're there and what you're doing is for you. And that's what's important. And, not everybody who is in a religion is the same either. So you might meet other people who are of like mind, or you might meet people who are more extreme in their views, but they're not always one thing, because I think there's a lot of stereotypes of what we think, Christians are like, or people who are religious are like, and I don't think that's always the case. People are still just people. People have different beliefs. It's just like politics. We really can't make everything so black and white. Not every Republican, not every liberal is the same. And there's also tons of people who don't really identify with either. A lot of people are just exploring and in the middle and trying to find where they fit in. And there's a spectrum of people. I am heavily distracted by that. It's always in the back of my mind. Like, is this another exploration exercise for me to ignore certain things in my environment, be aware of them, but not be affected by them negatively? That is always, that has been an ongoing thing. When you try and do something for yourself, while you are aware of your surroundings and you mind them, you should still remind yourself that you're doing it for yourself, and then try to be true to that and do it for yourself, so long as you're not affecting other people negatively. So maybe I shouldn't care. I shouldn't be concerned. Well, maybe that person was just waiting for somebody to come back so they can go somewhere. They're going away, scratching themselves and stuff like that, and looking back at me like, oh, they definitely knew I was aware of them, because they keep looking back at me like, yo, that's sketchy. What's going on? What is happening? Was that person really just standing behind there because I was here? I don't know. That's kind of creepy. Is that what was going on? I mean, otherwise, what is up with that? Okay, well, I think that's that. There's other people coming out from I went to the Contemporary, and I think afterwards they have the more traditional, and I think people are coming out of that now. And I think because those people are coming out from that, this person was either waiting for somebody to come out from that or something, or, well, they walked away. So curious. Where'd they go, and what the heck was that all about? It's always, people. All these people. Well, I think I will be going soon. I honestly, because I don't know what I'm doing anymore here. Since I've been so distracted, I didn't really focus too much on what I was talking about. It would have been cool to actually have a conversation, I mean, this is a live stream, which means anyone could, jump in and technically talk. But it's not very common that people do. At first, when I did my live stream Tai Chi's, some people did, but maybe 2 out of 20 were actually serious. Everybody else was just maybe, I don't know, maybe they're children, but they expressed in their responses to my stream were that had to do with the way I looked and what I was doing, and wasn't really very serious about it. But that's okay. Again, I have to remember I'm doing this for myself, and I'm exploring and trying to figure out what ways I can be fully self-expressed and do something in this sphere, in social media and content creation, to be able to find a niche in which works in that it can become something where I feel fully self-expressed, and where it becomes something which eventually can be something I can make a living with, partially at least. And I've been exploring doing that with my Tai Chi, with my movement explorations, and then my occasional long form streams and shorts. And then whatever this is, I don't know what this is. This is just me talking, and I guess it's titled, I went to church or whatever, and so I guess, that's what I'm talking about here, and I don't know, maybe someone will find this interesting, Yeah. But this is really just a conversation I'm having with myself. In a way, when you do this, when anyone else does this, when they do a recording or a live stream, or if they're not recording, but we're just talking to ourselves, for ourselves, or at least when I'm doing it, it's for myself. Even though the impetus was to put myself out there, because I don't think I normally would talk to myself in this manner, or take that time and space to talk to myself in this manner. So this is special in that, obviously you're trying to do something like create content, or you know what I mean? I guess the purpose is to be seen in some form or manner, to be of value creatively, or be entertaining. But at the end of the day, to make it sustainable, it has to be something that you're doing for yourself. You have to be getting something from it. So it's like this dual sword, dual edge, type of thing. And obviously now I'm just really killing time and doing it to do it right now, because literally I have nothing else to say. I'm just thinking out loud, which is something I often do, which is definitely my thing. This is an exploration I'm doing live. And there's that pressure of you needing it to make it something, to make it worth someone's time, to make it worth your time. And maybe that's, I don't know, is that a pressure you shouldn't care about? If that's a pressure I shouldn't care about, then it could totally be just me chilling. Not saying anything. Just being. I could just do a whole video of just me being. Wouldn't that be interesting? That I just purposely set time to record, to just be. But to be, like really kind of voyeuristically recording myself as if I wasn't being recorded. And that's just me being me, doing me. People do that, you know, like people record themselves sleeping or have their live stream on while they're doing whatever in the background, and not so much so they kind of forget that they're being recorded in some form or manner where someone might be able to see them, you know. There's that where it's voyeuristic, and then there's also just recording you being, where you're completely self-aware of what you're doing, that you could be seen and recorded and all that, but not feeling the pressure to entertain or to perform other than just existing, but being aware. So you might still be affected. Do I know how to drive home without the GPS? Let's see. Anybody looking at me and following me? Okay, good. I was curious if that person would come back, honestly. Let's shut off the AC because I don't need that. Let's put on my glasses. You know what I mean? Sometimes I just don't wear my glasses but since I'm gonna do this, let's just be responsible and put my glasses. If I'm not gonna use my GPS, let's make sure I can see. Oh, sorry. There's a line getting out of this parking lot. This is me being me. Maybe I'll forget that this is live streaming. Taking it off of Wi-Fi, not that there's any Wi-Fi out here, but taking it off just in case when I do get home that it won't just, you know, kill the stream, because I'm just gonna make some crazy long form content of me doing nothing. So interesting. A lot of people are coming out who are carrying instruments, so I guess they were playing instruments in there and not just well, yeah, even in the contemporary one they played music, but it was more like a rock band, you know, and I'm seeing more like orchestral type of instruments coming out. I think I saw a big like oboe, is that what they're called? And maybe a violinist. Okay, let's go. Drive. Just pay attention. Turn on let's put on some AC. And got the lights on. Checking around one more time. See if there's some old weirdo following me. Don't follow me home. There's a nice group of people walking around this campus. They have like it's a big campus. It's got like 2 church areas, I guess, you know, one for contemporary, one for traditional, and then they have like a whole youth center, a gym, and I don't know if it's a school, but there definitely looks like there's like a playground, childcare area. I also want to mention this place is diversive, you know, not crazy diverse, but you know, I did see different ages, different ethnicities. I definitely saw some non-traditional alternative couples or people or whatever you want to call it, just, saw some queers with families, with children, which I thought was really cool. This guy walking out with, what is that? It looks like maybe it's a Halloween costume. He looks like I don't know. He's carrying a costume, but it looks like it might be like a bee farmer guy. What do you call those people? Beekeepers, beekeeper type of thing. Either that, or he's a gingerbread man. I don't know. And so now there's a line of cars getting out. So I have not pulled out yet. Let's be careful. Let's be responsible. Let's drive safely. Last week, I'm so bad with directions and stuff, and I used my GPS to get here, and I totally had a little difficulty, like I was taking a turn and looking like, wait, where am I supposed to look? And I ended up hitting a curb, which next day found out one of my tires was going low, and we're like, oh shoot, is that why? And so we ended up bringing it into the garage and replaced 2 of our front tires because they were really kind of worn out anyway. So it's time to change them. So we did that. I like today's message in our I liked last week's and this week's. Last week's had a focus about, well, I wouldn't say focus, but the context was in voting. And I guess the main message was, staying who you are in your beliefs, regardless of who you vote for. It doesn't it's not the single thing that defines you, and shouldn't be the single thing that you define others with, and that our values could actually be, well, at the ground level, the same, because obviously some values might be different depending on which way you're voting, but at the end of the day, there are a lot of similarities, and we need to remember. Oh yeah, one of the messages was like, the whole we the people thing. They're saying that people ended up making it's me and my people, and that it really isn't we the people, because if it were really we the people, that would mean all of us and all of the things that we agree and disagree with, all the differences, that's we. Those are things. Those are, or that idea is what we should be focusing on, is that it's us together. It's not, me and we, my people versus your people, which is what it's kind of like in, or what it seems to be like right now in our society and culture here in America. So I guess that was the main gist of it. That we can still be united in our differences, which is how we've always been traditionally, or, well, not traditionally, but, for a while up until the past, this past decade, where things became much more divisive all of a sudden. And then this week, they started their new thing about being purposeful with 2 L's, F-U-L-L. And they did something that's pretty common and not new. The idea that, in our lives, what we put first, what we prioritize, to manage our life and to cope, live and be, how we may easily just turn to things that provide immediate gratification. Not that those things are bad necessarily by themselves or just bad. They don't have to be. They could be good things too. But the point is moderation and priority. So the gist, they did that example of like where you put rocks into a container. You start with, all the sand, and then you put the little rocks in, and then you put the big rocks, but then they don't all fit. The little sand represents all the non-essential things in life, I guess, that are just for fun. And then the smaller rocks were things that we need to do that are still important. And then the big rocks were things that we decide are essential, that are really, you can't live without, which would be, for me, would be like your health, mental health, and your body, your family, or, things like that. And so, but if you put in all the smaller things first, and then the middle rocks, and then the big rocks, and they don't fit, you feel like you're kind of a mess, and you have to, you neglect those important things like your body or your mental health or your family. So you feel more of a mess, and you just try to sustain and make it through the day with all the little things that provide immediate gratification. But if you prioritize differently, or rather, before you even get there, then you just feel like, in order to get those other bigger things in, like your mental health and your bodily health and your family, you have to cut out those other fun things that you like to do. You have to cut out other things, and that becomes a struggle for you, becomes difficult. However, if you prioritize those things that really matter in life first, like your health and your mental health and your body and your whatever relationships, the bigger rocks, you find that if you put them with the bigger rocks first, and then the important things in life that you still need to get done, and then put in the sand, which is the non-essential stuff, it all still fits. It all fits still. So it's that whole idea of, if you work from the foundation and stuff like that, all the important things in life, the essentials in life, everything else will fall into place. Everything else will still fit. You'll still get to do all the things you want. In fact, you'll have more energy. You'll be healthier. Your body will be better. Your mental health is better. And you'll find space and time for all of these things and be able to manage it all. So you can have it all if you just prioritize better. And that's awesome. I mean, that's important. It's not a new message, but they're reiterating it, to remind you and to reassess where you are in your own life. And I feel like I am totally in that foundational stage where I really am just focusing on those essentials, being able to eat, sleep, just to be able to what the essentials are in my life, which are to be healthy physically and mentally. That's number one. And then that's what I'm working on, and then I'm working out from there and trying to figure out what makes me fully self-expressed, and what my niche would be, and whatever I end up doing that can also somehow give me meaning and purpose, feel fully self-expressed, and also do something for the world, and also somehow give me meaning. Somehow be sustainable and provide a way to make a living, meaning, you know, some kind of way to make some money, because you can't do all of that and not make any money to survive. I'm taking a left here out of instinct, and it turns out to be a road that that I know of. So I think I'm going the right direction. I have heard of this road. So I think I'm going the right way. I think eventually I will make it home. I'm going in the right direction, I believe. And I remember it being pretty straightforward. I didn't really have to take too many turns to get home. This is also an exercise in trusting myself. I never, ever really drive anywhere here without my GPS, especially because I never go anywhere. So the only place I knew how to go to was work. I barely knew how to get to the grocery store around my house because I only leave the house once a week to go to the grocery store typically, and I don't drive. Typically Jason drives, so I barely even knew how to get there. Barely. It's so nice out today. It really is. It's not too hot, not too cold. Trader Joe's? Oh, wow. I used to go to Trader Joe's in New York. Oh, this place is nice. What is this place? It's like a big shopping area, but it's like multi-level outdoor. It looks like, I don't know, it looks really cool. I don't know if I remember driving by here to get here, but I do believe I still can get home. Oh, Barnes and Noble? I think I've been here before. Hopefully I know where my next turn is. I don't think this is the normal way I got here. That looks familiar. Oh my god, I think I know where I am. Okay, it doesn't seem like I'm very far from home if that is what I think it is. Fascinating. Thirsty. Aqua. You know what's also interesting is that whenever I've gone to a church, I'll always feel a little self-conscious about if they are doing communion that day. I'll feel self-conscious about that. I'll feel self-conscious about the tithings. Is that what they're called? The tithes or whatever. And I never partake in tithing. And you know, the places I've gone to, they have always provided beverage and donuts as well, and I've never ever, you know, donated either. But today, I mean, sure, there are sometimes social pressures to do it, but I have never tithed due to social pressure. For grabbing a donut, I do feel that pressure, but I hadn't, except for today, because you literally couldn't get one without confronting a person who would be standing there. Normally there isn't a person standing there, so if you didn't, no one would really know, but a person standing there provides more pressure. And I decided not to feel bad about that pressure and accepted it and embraced. Oh no, that is not the building I thought. Whoops, I don't know where I am after all. Okay, though this looks super familiar. I've definitely been by here before. I just need to know where to take my next turn. But in any case, I decided to embrace it and say that yes, even though I am out of the job, I am kind of still technically working for money, but it is money that is already, in a way, my own, in that it's Jason's. You know what I mean? I am providing him a service that will hopefully help him to make more than he would otherwise without my help. But at this time, I don't believe that is really the case. So that's not really going to happen for a little while, but we're working towards that. But yes, I have some of my own money and I have savings, which I'm using, but he is also, being super, super supportive and allowing me this opportunity, which I appreciate, to explore and figure myself out. In any case, I decided that, especially with the sermon today was about, it was also about physical things in life, of things that are important. At the end of the day, a lot of material things are not quite as important, long story short, and that giving can be very powerful and important, but more powerful, of empowerment of yourself, in the sense that all these things that you have, you don't really need all of it, and you can't bring it with you when you go, and sometimes giving can be very fulfilling and empowering. And oh, I think I should have took a right there. Shit. Oh no. Oh no, where am I going? Oh, I think I could go that way, but I'm in the wrong lane. Okay, Carl, this is such a bad idea. Wow. Will I make it home? I have some gas, so I think eventually I will see another point that looks familiar to me. I should probably take a turn sometime soon before I completely go out of someplace that I can't recognize. Let me try taking a turn here. What is this road? See, that's why I'm glad I put on my glasses. Yes! I recognize this road. This road is actually, I think, directly connected to where I live. So that's good. Doing good, doing good. Maybe slightly roundabout way, but it all goes the same place. Metaphorical to everyone's journey. There's no right and wrong way to get to where you're going. So yeah, so I felt very comfortable, or I decided to become comfortable with giving, and try to be comfortable with, what, it doesn't matter how much I give. I guess the idea and exercise and practice is of giving in itself, and I would like to practice that because I have a lot of stuff at home. Well, not all of it is mine, because I actually do not like shopping. I stopped collecting things as much because I am a hoarder and I collect things. So I do own a lot of things, but I have since stopped myself from collecting more if I can help it. So I don't often buy things or bring things home knowing that all I will do is store it away. Okay, so because owning things also have become very stressful and can be very stressful. If you end up letting your material things somehow stress you out, it will control your life to an extent, make you feel like you can't. Oh, there's a Friendly's there and it says it's moving. Where is it moving to? Where? I need to know. There is a Friendly's near my house, but there's something different about them. We didn't necessarily love it, so other Friendly's might be better, and I want to know which one that goes to. What am I talking about? Material things. Yeah, so you don't want things to control you in a sense, especially if someone like myself who just collects so much stuff. Like for example, collected comics. I have so many comics. I eventually stopped collecting them physically and started getting digital because the idea of having to move them or places to put them in a manner that would still look nice. It became very difficult and stressful. I would stress about needing to move because I just own so many things, and that's not a great way to live. So yeah, so maybe I can practice giving things away. I always wanted to be that person, I always want to be that person who gives, but I was never really that person. I was just always inspired or by others who did. I want to be that person who brings, snacks during a meeting. I want to be a person who's like, treats people to a meal, or doesn't matter or doesn't mind spending a little extra, to cover somebody. It doesn't have to be completely equal. It's not tit for tat. It's not, I don't do something because of what you've done for me. I do it because I want to. I don't expect anything in return. I do believe and do practice some of that, but not to the extent that I wish I was. So I would love to give more, but I just need to be careful to not be detrimental to myself or others in that giving, because I do worry that I might end up giving something that I'll regret. Because that part of me, my personality is, it's difficult for me to necessarily find balance, and I sometimes, in order to simplify my life, it might be easier to just go to one extreme or the other with something. So either you do or you don't, and it makes it easier to make decisions when you follow that. But when it's like a balancing act where you have to make a decision which way to go, it sometimes makes things much more difficult. And so there are some things which work when you make black and white, but there are some other things that, maybe not so much, because anything at an extreme could be bad, so you would want to find a balance. And so if I were to practice something like giving, would I end up having such difficulty determining what I can or should or whatever give, that I end up, if it's important to me, I'll end up simplifying and just be like, hey, if I'm going to give, I'm going to give, to my detriment. I don't know that I would apply that to this particular example of giving, though, because I think that it would be difficult to completely black and white with that. I think my mind would stop me from doing something too extreme. But in other things that might be a little smaller, that is definitely often the case. With difficulty of like maybe deciding what to eat because you want to be healthy. Sometimes it could be easier to just be like, oh, I guess I just never eat any dessert, that kind of thing. But even then, that is a struggle. That one's hard though, because I do love my sweets. That's life, right? But for some people, people have different struggles, different things that they have trouble balancing. Some things are easy to some people, and some things are difficult to some people that might be easy for you, and vice versa. Wow, K.C'arl, you're talking about stuff that everyone knows. Who cares? That's what I think when I talk too much. But since I'm talking to myself, it doesn't matter, because if you're watching this, I don't know, maybe, I guess it's your problem if you don't, if you think I'm a waste of time to listen to. Hey, don't watch, right? Yeah, that's it. I'm not here to impart any knowledge that you don't already know, I guess, unless you find what I'm talking about beneficial to you, and now you find, K.C'arl, now I'm judging myself. Now it's time to just shut up. But then you say, don't tell yourself to shut up. Thinking too much. Lady Gaga. She's an inspiration. She's a human too. Just like us. Just like you and me. I was watching her live concert on HBO, the Chromatica Ball, last night. I didn't finish watching it, but I found myself very inspired and very moved by her performance of Born This Way or Born That Way. I never really cared for that song. I thought it was just alright, but her setup to performing it, the precursor, her going into it, her intention, beautiful. The messaging, you know, made the song better. Her performance was very meaningful, and I found it very inspiring. Though I also find myself feeling slightly obligated to talk about something more focused, since, you know, the title of this stream was I went to church today or something, and I feel like I do what I do, which is think out loud, and I've deviated. I've gotten to the point where really I'm just, you know, literally thinking out loud, and it's not a focused topic. I think for things like YouTube and social media content, one key I think should be a focus if you're trying to make content that is quote unquote successful, you know. And my content focus initially was of going to church, so you figure it would have to do with, you know, religion, spirituality. But I kind of fell off of that because I decided that I was going to talk about creating content and how maybe content could just be, you know, an exploration for me right now. That the exploration could be of me literally just being me with no focus. Doing content with no focus, which now I am saying is probably not the best way to do it. I mean, I think if you were a celebrity or somebody, you know, you already had a following, that's different. But if you're trying to create successful content, I think it is important to have a focus. And that's why the focus of my channel, in which this kind of falls in with very broadly, my channel focus is also quite broad, is just being fully self-expressed and in discovering ways to be fully self-expressed and finding your niche in content creation. That's kind of the focus. I'm almost home, I'm actually going the right way. Wow. And it's totally not the way that I went to get there, which is cool because I still found my way home. Somehow all connected. Doing these streams, doing these, is that what non sequitur means? I don't know, but like, just thinking out loud, doing these type of long form videos where I just think out loud is a sounding board for myself, reflection, talking to the universe, talking to myself. This is a crappy intersection. we dislike it. I am entering the place in which I live. The gate is not open. We were thinking about moving this year, but we ended up not because they didn't raise our rent for once. Oh, look at that doggy. He's like got a limp and just like one of his legs is just not on the ground. And he's, oh, what is happening here? Oh, they're waiting for me to open the gate because they were ineffective in opening it. Whoops. La, 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 la. What will I do today? Today is a work for K.C'arl day, which means I either work on the stuff that I'm working on in regards to self-expression and creating content for myself, or which is on a side, giggles and games, which is somewhat included in this exploration or part of it, including something else that a bunch of these side projects that are connected to working for myself in this exploration and content creation and full self-expression sense. That's what today is supposed to be. So what will I do? I should probably edit something for Giggles and Games. I should probably work on a little content to release for myself. Oh, I didn't do my Tai Chi and movement exploration yet today. And I did create a schedule for myself this week. And literal schedule, like a time schedule for every single day. And so I should probably do lunch now. And then I guess I can do my Tai Chi and movement exploration. Though Sundays could be a day in which I don't do it. I've been doing it every day, but days that I've missed now, I've missed a couple. And typically those are days in which I don't do Tai Chi and movement as the first thing I do when I get up. When that happens, then I just don't do it at all. And so Sunday could be one of those days. So I'm going to go upstairs, see what Jason's up to, and then I will determine how I will live out the rest of my day. So I will or will not do Tai Chi or movement. And also Jason might want to record something, which hopefully he will, but he might have some other things he needs to do for himself, so he might not get to it. But we were supposed to do one for the comics that we've been reading, the DC All In initiative. The full month of that has begun, and so we were gonna do a video about that and what we've read this past month for the first month of DC All In. And maybe we'll get to that, maybe not. Otherwise, hopefully we'll get that on Monday. I also have to work on, well, I'm not gonna talk about that. So let's see. I have lots of manga to read. If I end up not doing any work for content creation for myself or games, whatever, I do have a lot of manga to read, only because Jason has been, oh my god, reading so many manga and passing them down to me, and I have a billion manga to read. I'm currently not hooked on any video game, and so I don't have any need to play a particular game. That is a thing for me. Sometimes when I get obsessed with a game, it'll become a priority. I have finished my battle pass for Fortnite, so I don't need to do that, and the new season has started, so I don't have to do that anymore. And I could just end the stream. It's so nice out. It's crazy nice. There are clouds, but there's a nice breeze. I don't know if it's, well, not really worth looking there. That's the great thing about streaming is that, well, with YouTube, after you end the stream, it just saves as part of your live content, you know? And so it's like I made content and I don't have to post it. But I don't think it's doing me any good for content. So it's been an hour and 6 minutes. I did some long form content. All right, let me go in and see what Jason's doing, and then, like I said, I should probably have some lunch and see what happens. Happens. We haven't done Giggles and Games for weeks now. Things have just been coming up. I don't think we're done, but we might do a little reboot. And all the shows that we normally watch for it, I have not been watching because we haven't been doing a show, and so I have lots of shows to catch up on. So if it is a day in which I don't work for me, those are things I can do if I just want to have a fun day. Typically, I try not to have fun, quote unquote fun, until I've done some work, and today is supposed to be a K.C'arl work day in which I allot 5 hours, I think. The work hours between when I work for myself and work for Jason are completely different. I work for Jason 20 hours a week. So I do 4 days, 5 hours each. And then the rest of the week, that's 3 days, I'm supposed to work for myself. I mean, it's supposed to be, if it's even, then I need to work like 7 hours. But I hadn't set that specifically. So working for myself, I have less constraints, I guess, because I'm just beholden to me. But when I work for Jason, I'm working for someone else, you know, so I need to not disappoint, especially because he's helping me have this opportunity. You know, I don't have time to kind of lollygag as much, because eventually I'm gonna have to make some money, you know. So let me get to it. Much love.